Sinan, hello. How's the event going so far? Really nice. It's our third year, and I've liked it even more because they're really building on the year before. So I couldn't join yesterday, but I could, and I've been really enjoying myself from the morning. Well done. Thank you so much for coming. So, we have 15 minutes, and let's be quite practical. Let's divide it into three. Let's talk about what's happening in the banking industry. You've been around for a very long time in the industry. You're very experienced, and you're not only tracking all the trends, but I am. So that's going to be the first section. Secondly, what's happening in Turkey, and third, what you are doing. Let's start with the first part. Well, I prefer this, really, rather than going into cliche directions. So I've actually thought of this. I'm going to reveal my age, I worry, but finance and technology have been utilized at the best possible way, in Turkey. And I remember when I first started, telephone banking, smartphone banking, self-service timelines. So all of that was captured by the banking industry, and we showed the trend in that direction. So digitization has been going really well in Turkey because globally speaking, as you know really well, so what's happening in fintech, we've been following that, and we've been assessing possibilities. But in Turkey, I can very confidently say that it's no longer competition, but it's turned into a collaboration. And one main reason is that the banking industry has really leveraged digital tech transformation from the very early stage and still carrying on. During the pandemic, as you know, digital transformation penetration rose up dramatically. And we grew by 8% even last year when you think of, for example, online banking customers that we had. So from 2023 to 2024, exactly. We're talking about 120 million in terms of figures, and we are a tech-using industry. But what do we expect from now on? Maybe we can discuss that separately. So here's what I see. Turkey differentiates itself from the rest of the world in a very positive way, actually. But the game could change a lot going forward, and we'll look into that. So what about our differentiation in the Turkish banking system? It's really a success story. So from early 2000s up to now, we've seen that in terms of digital transformation, Turkish banks have led the way. So when we visit other countries and when we benefit banking services in other countries, we see that in terms of customer experience, we are far ahead. So of course, there's a backhand issue, and massive transformation took place in backhand as well. One of the commentators yesterday said, and that's one reason why we're doing this. So we really want to learn new things. It's a learning opportunity for us. So are we heading towards stagnation in terms of fintech in Turkey? It's not actually a contrary opinion, but maybe we can make better use of cloud-based system, because integration capability is very important, scalability is very important. Do you feel that is on the horizon, or do you believe that our current structure could take us even further in the future? Well, compared to the past, we're going to be challenged even more, because we started using technology extensively in the past, and technology development costs in Turkey, when we consider what happened in the past. I don't have data, but I know from experience that it used to be better manageable in the past, but the game is going to change in the future, especially when we look at regional figures and technology development costs. That picture has changed quite a bit. That's why we need to act accordingly. And maybe what could give us value added is to make better use of these technologies. And of course, AI comes into play exactly here, because you have AI solutions, and I don't know how you can make use of that without cloud services. Because, well, like many of the banks in Turkey, we do have R&D services there, and we will need transformation in that particular area. But the cloud business, it's technology in part and strategy in other part. And I don't think that it's true only for Turkey, because I'm also following what's happening in global finance, and similar discussions take place pretty much everywhere. So I think beyond that, hopefully we'll make very good use of cloud. Otherwise, we'd like to develop things on our own to secure our data security as well. And so I'm aware that I haven't really given a good response to your question, because I cannot really be very sure of myself, because I used to be very confident and I had a lot of faith in cloud in the past, but I also have a bit of a negative feeling about it, because I don't know what kind of a margin benefit cloud will bring. Maybe we can look into it case by case. So I think it's quite interesting that you mentioned strategy, because be it core banking, integrated structures, or cloud systems, you need to really look at things from a strategy perspective. So, moving on from that part. Second question. What's happening in the industry at large? Because everything is now taking place on digital channels. That's where competition takes place. How do you view the current structure of the market? Like I said, the industry has reached maturity, a significant maturity in digitization, so we're really optimizing customer needs, responses, and obviously customer actions shape our responses, because on the branch side we have optimizations in certain services, and we make use of AI on the call center services. So basically, we are going to experience transformation that will better address customers' needs, but at Odeabank, we call ourselves Phygital. What we do is, it could be on call centers or elsewhere, we believe that human beings will have an additional, a complementary role in customer needs. So I think the industry will strike a balance, because we now have extended lifespans, because we sometimes have discussion with our compliance teams. What about 70-plus customers? Are they using our digital channels? Maybe we can introduce new transformations. Unless you address these issues, they become quite significant. And in terms of crisis, in terms of emergency, people want to talk to people. So even if you set up a fully digital game, if you face a cloud issue, customers will head to a certain other direction, and you have to have that available for them. So we're not really talking about a very simple game wherever the customer is involved. That's why, speaking of the industry in general, we're very well positioned. How about your positioning at Odeabank? How are you striking that balance? Very similarly to the general trends in the industry, because Odeabank is quite young. We have a history of about 15 years, so we're digital native, and that's how we've developed our products. But it's quite interesting to note that we haven't really been only digital. So we have a model that with which we support our customers through the call centers and the branches for about 2 or 3 years. Our strategy is more geared towards digital side, and with that in mind, we are supporting our customers with complementary services on the call center and then branches, and we also have remote services. So these are all complementing each other.
Professor Mahfi mentioned it in the morning speech, and Sia also emphasized that in the keynote speech. Are you really doing anything in that realm? Yes, historically speaking, banks, maybe we need to include the retail sector, banks have been intensively utilizing data. So machine learning, artificial intelligence, and advanced analytic tools have all been used by banks to generate added value for customers and optimize internal processes. But the world is changing right now. Gen AI has come to the fore, and AI also has come to the fore. And when they first emerged, we panicked, and it has arrived already, and it's passing. Are we late? This was the source of our panic. And we just remained calm. We were aware that it was something new, but we weren't really missing anything. And I'm very thankful for the colleagues that I have in the industry. And we talked with them. I mean, our position and our investment allocated budget for technology was also quite clear. And everybody was very much focused on R&D. And all those institutions with a budget allocated to AI, they also were taking the lead. The trend is taking place as follows. First, you create a panic, and then you notice that there's nothing else, and then you leave. So we should not really abandon the process at all. Well, AI entrepreneurs, I always keep close interaction with them, because my sentiment is always as follows. For example, software development has become more like a standard, and AI will also set itself as a standard, and we need to create a space to position it accurately. So we need the framework, we need the security layer to make sure that we manage it well. So this is where our R&D efforts are concentrated. This is the research part, but on the forefront, we have also carried out some studies. For example, for HR, we are experimenting an assistant, and operations expert is also another experiment that we're making. For example, knowledge is generated by them, and we are developing something which can actually give us answers, and this is going to be a model through which we will serve customers. So this is ongoing already, and technology is not really a closed loop like how it was in the past, because in the past it was quite difficult to mimic somebody else's previous efforts, but now you can actually do it in 40 different ways, so it's not really a loss of opportunity at all. So it's a collaboration when you imitate the previous efforts or study of somebody else. But how can we really differentiate ourselves as banks then? I mean, because if all banks are doing the same thing. Well, I wonder if banks will survive or sustain their presence, because the world is heading towards embedded finance. And I think it's just going to see considerable growth, and I've seen it in a recent study. I think it's going to reach a transaction volume of 6 trillion. I'm only talking about embedded finance. Could you please explain it with one sentence? What does it really entail, embedded finance? Embedded finance, I will do it in simple terms. You receive financial services without understanding that there is a bank in the background. So everything is going to the same direction, banking as a service or banking as an infrastructure. Instead of searching for a digital bank at the time of need, you just continue with the trend. So you just use an e-commerce channel, or you can just take out loans, and you can do it without understanding that there is a bank in the background. So there are instances of that, and we will see more of it in the coming period. And I think banks will grow into that direction. And I wonder if we will have to distinguish ourselves. First, distinction will be essential, but I don't know to what extent or how far it will go, because collaboration becomes something quite open after a while, because the model can entirely turn itself upside and down. But we're talking about a bank, first and foremost, at the end of the day. Well, of course, digitalization will be something. However, a healthy organism, a healthy organization should be functioning behind it. Well, I don't even feel the need to say that, but still. And one last remark. How would you like to position Odea? Is it a digital sales channel? Is it a monolithic structure? I'm talking about a sales channel, not as a backend. Or is that really an alternative distributed sales channel? How is that composed? There are two sides to that. There are two legs to that. Embedded finance, I'm keeping it till the later stages of its evolution because we will see what it's going to entail. But we would like to be a distributed bank, and all the activities that we run support this aim. And robot services we have, and our perspective for investments will also reinforce that as well. And at later stages, we will do the same thing on different channels, and this is going to be a model. So this is how I understand it. The ownership structure and management structure has changed in the company, and everything that you have cited right now and the roadmap that you drew right now also brings along tips for how it is going to be positioned in the future. Odeabank is a main channel of finance that is very much central in the ecosystem, right? Yes, exactly. Thank you very much.